All right. You are looking live. It's sold out MetLife Stadium where today the 16-0 and playoff bound New York Giants are taking on the 0-16 Washington Commanders. And Washington Commanders 0-16. They haven't won a Super Bowl in over 30 years, baby. Washington Commanders, you suck. They really do. That's a it's bad when a Giant fan can pick on your team, man, and it's truthful. It's just straight up truthful. You suck. I can't wait till we will pop on your ass 2 times again this year. Oh, man, I love it. Welcome to the Gridiron. Anybody out there at all that's going to spend a little bit of time with me here this evening, I greatly appreciate it. Thank you. Or if anybody's going to spend any time watching the replay this once again, thank you so much for the bottom of my heart means the world to me. I'm going to try to go about 30 minutes here tonight. Oh, there's my buddy Rainey. Going to try to go about 30 minutes here tonight. Shoot my mouth off for about 30 minutes. Anybody got anything to say, please feel free to fire away, throw it in the chat box. Usually try to check on the chat box every 5 or 10 minutes or so. As soon as I see something in there, I try to respond to it as fast as I can. So please feel free and fire away. But plus also, seriously, instead of me just rambling on for half an hour, 45 minutes, or whatever it might wind up being, it's just nice to talk to another Giant fan. So once again, please feel free and fire away with the comments. Before we get started, if anybody wants to help support my channel, it would mean the absolute world to me. In the description box below, the very top link in the description box takes you to my membership page. I got 3 different membership levels. The first one's called the Saquon, unfortunately. Second one's called the Lawrence Taylor. And the third membership level I got is called the Gridiron. Each one's got their own little perks to them. So if you want to help support my channel, it would mean so much to me, and I thank you in advance. Thank you. And if you are subscribed to my channel, thank you. I can use all the support I can get, guys. But if not, please go down below, hit the subscribe button, and hit that bell icon. That way, next time I go live or if I put a video out, you'll be notified. And it's free of charge. What do you got to lose, right? But if you are subscribed to my channel, thank you. Maybe if you give this video a thumbs up or share this video, that would be freaking awesome. And then finally, also just a little ways down in the description box, there's 2 additional links. The top one's a Facebook link. I'll go over that in just a second. The one underneath it, I'm an old-time fart. Can't stand changes. I like things just the way they are. I'm one of them old-time farts. Get off my lawn! Type old-time farts. Right, the link on there, it's a Twitter link to me. It'll always be Twitter. Whatever letter of the alphabet Elon Musk wants you to call it, that's on you, bro. I'm not calling it that. It's Twitter. Follow me on Twitter. I'll follow you back. That's an absolute promise. I try to put Giants-related stuff on my Twitter account every day. And then a link on top of it takes you to my Facebook group. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. We have over 8,400 members in the group. It's doing simply marvelous, might I add. Basically, if I'm alive and breathing, and if I have internet access, I'm putting stuff in this group darn near 365. And not only do I put stuff in this group, but the members post stuff in this group as well. So between me and the members, there's a ton of New York Giants information going in this group every day. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. Please join it. You won't be dissatisfied. I promise. All right, all that stuff said and done and out of the way with. Well, let's see here. The Smart, Tough, and Elusive. Now, there was a article here I saw. It's pretty kind of interesting. It's from Big Blue View, and it says basically, why don't the Giants draft the players you want them to? Well, there's a lot more obviously involved, than obviously just meets the eye. It's not like, Mel Kiper Jr. coming on and saying, the Giants should take this guy or this or that, The Giants have, they had the way they're trying to build their team, their roster, the team and all that and everything, they only have apparently about 150, there's 74, not 70, there's a lot of guys who are available to be drafted. But apparently the Giants, like their board only has like 150 guys on it. So there's a lot of guys, right, that, they don't have on there. I mean, you might think, why didn't they take this guard? Or why didn't they take that tackle? Or what was wrong with this wide receiver? What's going on? Right? May not be on their board, right? They only got 100, about 150, right? Obviously, a lot of those 150, if not all of them, are going to be taken. Somewhere along the line, and quite possibly they got 150 guys that they're eyeing up. After the draft's over, if say there's 3 of them left on the board, I'm sure they're on the phone. Hey, hey, you want to be a Giant, right? But obviously there's a lot more to meets the eye. There's some guys, obviously, whatever, for whatever reason, there's something that they saw something with the guy, whether, I don't know. Especially if they bring somebody in. That's why those 30 visits are very, very important. Sometimes to bring the 30, the guys in, right? It's not so much to see if they're a fit for the team. It's sometimes it could quite possibly be if they can cross them off the list. It might be something. I mean, they bring the guy in, could just say a quarterback, right? And whatever. I ain't no draft guru. I ain't no quarterback whisperer, nothing like that. But they're sitting the guy down. It's like, all right, so they do, I guess, obviously they're doing multiple things. But one thing, they may bring obviously J.J. McCarthy in, sit J.J. down, and they might pop up a play, right? And, whatever. Michigan versus whoever, Michigan State, Ohio State, and they just pick up they got a certain play, and what's going on here? What's going through your mind here when when you drop and or when you're coming up to the line of scrimmage? What are you seeing here? What's what do you think the coverage might be? Where's your hot rat? What what I mean? And so maybe walking up, JJ's walking up to the line of scrimmage, and he's what's he see? Obviously, pre-snap. Walking up to the line of scrimmage. Then obviously once they start the film and he gets the ball and he starts dropping back and then they stop it. And I said, now post snap. What are you seeing here? What's going on? I mean, maybe he might ace that, but then they throw a curveball at him or something. And then they bring in their own film or something or whatever. And they ask them questions on maybe a different play or something, and maybe guys just can't answer them. Or he's having problems or whatever. So they're kind of like, okay. I mean, this guy's all right. The guy has some possibilities or something, but he's not a first round pick or something. I mean, they bring these guys in for all different reasons. There's all different reasons why they might pick them, they may not pick them or whatever. So this is it's pretty funny, this article. Why don't they pick the players you want to? Well, one of the things is, as is in this article, is they're Giants. As we can see over time, over the past 3 drafts, I guess with Shane is the team he's starting to build, right? But some of it is more the dependable parts certainly in there. But one of these things is smart, tough, and possibly elusive, right? I mean, and it's a long article. If I read this whole article, I'd be here for about 7.5 weeks. So, but I'm trying to. I cut down to the chase here. It says Shane does a good job of not giving out information, as he does. He doesn't tell us. So whoever doing this from Big Blue View, I'm not sure. This Ed Valentine maybe or something. He said he doesn't tell us, or he doesn't tell his fellow GMs what kind of player he's looking for. No one knew who he was taking in round 1 this year until it happened. And considering that he is a first-time GM and he only started the job months before he had to conduct his first draft, his ideas may have evolved over time. Absolutely. They're always going to evolve. Absolutely. That's especially true when you see which of your picks have worked out and which ones haven't. Absolutely. Yeah, because you get your first draft, right? You get the guys that come in, which ones do well, which ones don't do well. And it's like, okay, this guy did well, this guy did well, this guy didn't, and this guy didn't. Well, why didn't they do well? You know what I mean? There might be a certain trait that those guys have. And he's like, okay, well, these particular two guys, didn't do well. And they have this certain trait. Okay, so from now on, we're not going to, we're not going to have if the guy has a certain trait, we're not going to draft him. And considering that he's a first-time GM, okay, that's especially true when you see which one of your picks worked out and which ones haven't. It seems, though, that one message comes through pretty clear. The Giants under Shane and Day will want to be quick and elusive. A quick and elusive team rather than a physical bruising team. It doesn't determine every decision, but it's a recurring feature of the players he obtains. Consider the biggest free agent and trade acquisitions. Bobby Okereke, huge. I mean, he knocked it out of the park with that one. Straight up knocked it out of the park with Bobby Okereke. Darren Waller, Brian Burns, John Runyon, and Jermaine Elusive. Here are their relative athletic scores compiled by Kent Lee Platt. Now, RAS score for Bobby Okereke, 8.4. Darren Waller is a 9 point. I can't read it. It's either 9 point, not probably 9.05. I'm saying. I'm thinking 9.05 for Darren Waller. Brian Burns 9.9. 9.9. John Runyon, 8.47. Jermaine Elusive, 6.98. One of these players tested good or elite on every speed and agility test except for Luminor's shuttle result. Note that RAS numbers are relative to other players at the same position. Okay. So every one of those players that we just had tested good or elite on every speed and agility test, which is true. If you look at Bobby Okereke, his RAS, speed, right, and agility, the 40-yard dash, the 20-yard split, and the 10-yard split. Bobby Okereke was elite in all three of those. Darren Waller, the 40-yard dash, 20-yard split, his 10-yard split, elite. Meaning, if you look at the RAS, there's the three colors, I guess. I'm not sure if there's another one. There might be another one. But what I'm looking at here, I'm looking at red, yellow, and green. Green is elite, okay? So Darren Waller was elite at the 40-yard dash, 20-yard split, the 10-yard split. Brian Burns was elite. Once again, he had green. Right, his 40-yard dash, the 20-yard split, and the 10-yard split. What we got here? John Runyon, same thing. Elite. I mean, John Runyon was an 8.47, but still very, very good. Don't get me wrong, but once again, his 40-yard dash, his 20-yard split, and his 10-yard dash were elite. The only one they brought in was Jermaine Elusive. His were not elite. They were whatever. They were I guess yellow, which I'm not sure. And red is bad. Yellow is what, mediocre or whatever. I'm not sure how they put it, but elite is green, and that was one thing. Let's see, we can see it in his draft picks as well. Okay, Shane chose Malik Neighbors over Roman Dunzier. Both had elite RAS scores. Neighbors was 9.88, Dunzier 9.92. Ooh, what a freakish athlete he is, my goodness. Well, both of them are. But Neighbors' game is more elusive and separation than a Dunzier's. Yes. Dunzier is more of like, obviously, he gets some separation, don't get me wrong, but he's more of a contested catch kind of guy. That's why Shane and Dable don't want that. They want separation. Right. Neighbors is more elusive and separation than Adunzi is. His previous wide receiver draft picks were Wan'Dale Robinson and Jalen Hyatt. His one moderate cost free agent wide receiver Paris Campbell had a 9.77 RAS. I mean, I don't know why. I still have no idea why, and you'll never know why. They brought in Paris Campbell, paid him like 4.7 million, 4.8, whatever it was. Yeah, we just don't know. We're just not going to use him. We'll have number 0 sitting on the sideline. Maybe we'll put him in for one play. I don't know. Maybe it's like, well, why did you bring the guy in? I mean, that made absolutely no sense to me. We had 942 slot guys, and why are you paying almost $5 million a year for a guy who's just sitting on a sideline drinking Kool-Aid? Giant fans often wonder why Shane didn't take George Pickens over Robinson, but Pickens was coming off an ACL tear. Smart, tough, but Pickens with not so much the dependable part, and there was a character questions about him as well that have followed him to the NFL. That's a red flag for Shane in deciding which players get onto the Giants' big board. Character is You're trying to build a locker room full of high quality caliber players, caliber, human beings, teammates, and all that. You're trying to build a team, right? And you got some guys with some character flaws. I think he's also learning too, character flaws, character questions, but also guys, injury history. Right. So, I mean, you could basically, possibly almost kind of look at it like, Penix. He's off the board, possibly. Or if not, maybe we'll take a flyer on the guy, maybe in the second round, maybe, if he's there. But, I mean, people are thinking, why did they take Bennett? Well, maybe because he had so many injuries. Right. So, I mean, he may not have been on the 150 that they had on their big board because of his injuries. Right. Let's see. Kadarius Toney, his RAS score was a 9, was inherited by Shane and should have been a perfect fit for the type of offense that Dable wants to run. Abso-freaking-lutely. When the guy is healthy, and we're taking, his mental midget brain out of the situation, right? Because he's a child. He needs to grow up. He needs to be around. He needs somebody to come in, just whatever. Whatever. Be a big brother to him or something like that. Whatever. Mentor the guy. Call him out anytime he does something stupid or says something stupid or whatever. I mean, the guy needs something. That he's not. I don't know. Whatever. I don't want to say. He's just still a little childish or something. He needs to grow up. But if you take that aside, right, you take his injuries aside and all that other stuff, right? I mean, the guy is very difficult. I mean, there was some instances there where you just, the guy was just running. Somebody might be running with him. Like I can't remember. It was a cowboy. I can't remember what it was. Who it was. Who the cowboy was. But I mean, it was funny. It was Tony was running a route, whatever it was, and the cowboy guy was with him. And Tony took a step inside, right? The cowboy guy went inside, and then within like a split second, Kadarius Toney was running out, and the cowboy guy just disappeared out of the screen. He just totally disappeared. It's just, I mean, when the guy is on, he's very, very difficult to cover. He'd be a perfect candidate for the Dable offense, separation. But his mind is being separated from his senses sometimes. So somebody else can have him, right? Let's see. In general, the same traits have shown up when Shane drafts defensive backs. Cordell Flott. Okay, his 20-yard split was elite. His RAS score for his 20-yard split was at least 9.52. Dane Belton, elite, strong safety from Iowa. The 40-yard dash, the 20-yard split, and the 10-yard split. all three of his scores, Dane Belton's RAS scores, were all elite. Deonte Banks, his RAS, what was that? What the hell is that? 9? I don't know. Looks like 9.99. I'm finding that hard to believe, but maybe 9.99. I'm not sure if that's a complete, because he didn't do the bench. So I don't know. But I mean, but Deonte Banks, his 40-yard dash, 4.35. His 20-yard split, 2.47. His 10-yard split, 1.45. All elite. Trey Hawkins, the third. His RAS score is 9 point, looks like, is that 8.2 maybe? I mean, just freakishly athletic athletes that he's bringing in. I mean, once again, Trey Hawkins the third, his 40-yard dash, 20-yard split, and 10-yard split, all scores are all green. They're all elite. Javarius Owens, his 20-yard split and 10-yard split, elite. His 40-yard dash, 4.57. So that, yeah, but he's a safety. Free safety. Okay. So his 40-yard dash was is that 8.52? It's tough to say it. But his score. But 4.57. So a little slow, but once again, he's a safety. We're not looking for a 4.3 safety, a guy who can run a 40-yard dash and 4.3. But basically what you look at in the RAS scores is that, those times that are 40-yard dash, 20-yard split, and 10-yard split. These guys he's bringing in, those scores are all elite. Almost all of them, all three of those the scores, and almost every player bringing in, they're all elite. So this year, though, there was one notable exception to the rule. Here are the RAS scores for the Giants: two defensive backs picks plus one that they did not take but could have. Tyler Nubin. Now, see, the thing is with Tyler Nubin, he was coming off of a torn meniscus. His RAS scores, you can't go by that because he played injured last season. But he played, right? So his RAS score is not very good. But Andrew Phillips, his RAS score was very, very good, but his 40-yard dash, 20-yard split, and 10-yard split were not very good, though. The Giants selected Tyler Nubin at number 47 despite a poor combine showing in speed and especially agility drills. That's because he had the torn meniscus, I believe. It says that it turns out to be a reason. Meniscus repair is generally less serious than a torn ACL, so the Giants were apparently willing to lean on the play speed and instincts Nubin showed on film. In the third round, the Giants drafted cornerback Andrew Phillips. Cornerback is a need for the Giants, but Phillips plays slot rather than boundary. There was a run on cornerbacks late in round 1 and also in round 2 before they got to Andrew Phillips. And especially in early round 2. But TJ Tampa, number 50 on the consensus board and a primary boundary corner, was still there. Why did the Giants pass on him and take Phillips? The chart above shows one possible reason. Tampa scored very poorly on all the speed drills and was better than Phillips on only the shuttle. The Giants don't use the RAS results to make draft decisions, but for the vast majority of us who don't watch prospects in person, don't watch extensive films, or do so with a less trained eye than professionals, though RAS summaries may give us one clue about why the Giants make some of their decisions that they do about their personnel. Fortunately, the speed athleticism argument doesn't explain what Shane has done in drafting offensive linemen up to this point. Evan Neal declined to test at the combine. He was considered sufficiently athletic in game tape that it did not seem to be a red flag at the time. Just a strategic decision by a player not to jeopardize his draft potential when he had nothing to gain. So possibly if Evan Neal went to the combine and he did some other testing, maybe he might have tested poorly and maybe he may not have been picked number 7 by the Giants. So 2 years of NFL tape, though, show a player who's, among other things, is routinely beaten to the outside by edge defenders without ever landing his punch on them. Might agility drills have revealed something. So possibly, I got to move my legs for my buddy. All right. Sorry, buddy. So now if Evan Neal at the combine did some of those agility drills and he showed how poor, right, would that have been some type of red flag? You know, if you put him at tackle, yeah, his agility drill not very good. You put somebody outside there, right, like a Bosa or somebody like that, Evan Neal's going to get beaten like a drum, right? So, maybe Shane's learning. You know, he wants to see agility drills. You know, as I said, this article is really, really long, but it kind of seems, there's a possibility, right? Oh, Daniel, whoa, highlights. Hey, what's up, buddy? Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Let me turn it here. Happy Friday. Actually, soon to be Saturday, I guess, right? Yeah, soon to be Saturday. But, yeah, I mean, one thing is that you look at is that, some of those agility drills, elusiveness, right? That's possible. That's possible. I mean, it only shows so much because a lot of it also has to do with some of the character, and there's a lot of things that go into it. I ain't telling nobody nothing. You know what I'm saying? That's why they only have like 150 guys on the board. These are the guys that they've spent so much time and effort and money and everything. They got their 150 guys that they think might fit what they're trying to build here. Right. So there's so much that goes into it. It's like, why did they draft that guy? Why did they? I mean, there's a reason why, and you're never going to know. Never going to know. They're never going to be. Why didn't you take him? Why did you pass this guy on this guy? Why'd you draft this guy? Well, because they'll talk about this guy. Well, this guy is like, it's like what we're trying to do. We liked Andrew Phillips. We liked his tape. We talked to him, this, that. We thought he was what he wanted to. Why didn't you take those guys? Well, that guy sucks in the 40-yard dash. This guy got burnt all the time on double moves. This guy, this, you're not going to hear that. Why didn't you take these? Well, we didn't take this guy because you're never going to hear that. One of those history's mysteries. You're never going to know that. So it is what it is. All right. So next, Giants secondary. This is from Giants country. Giants secondary amongst most improved post drafts. And now let's also keep that in mind, because, after the draft, because after the draft, it takes into account that we don't have Xavier McKinney. I mean, so that was before the draft. Before the draft, we lost Xavier McKinney. Obviously, our secondary took a hit. Because we lost Xavier McKinney. But what I'm saying here is the Giants secondary after the draft is one of the most improved after the draft. So, they're taking into account that we don't have Xavier McKinney anymore. So we got some we got some props there. Usually we don't usually Pro Football Focus was high on the Giants mid-round choices at the NFL draft. Cool. I love it, baby. Usually the Giants don't always get a lot of love, as will be pointed out in my final segment of the program here tonight. It said that defense wins championships, but for the time being, it might have made the Giants winners in the aftermath of the 2024 NFL Draft. Pro Football Focus lauded the Giants' dealings in Detroit, labeling the Big Blue secondary one of the league's most improved after they welcomed Tyler Nubin and Drew Phillips in the second and third rounds, respectively. Though the Giants made only 2 secondary selections, they targeted players who fit their scheme for a potential year-one impact, says PFF's Trevor Sikkema. Nubin and Phillips will contribute to the Giants secondary, which is relieved of Xavier McKinney. Nubin was a ball hawk at Minnesota, where he had a program record 13 interceptions, Phillips made his mark as a physical defender at Kentucky, where he didn't have an interception. This draft marked the first time the Giants used 2 picks within the first 3 rounds on secondary help since 2016 when they chose Eli Apple and Darian Thompson. Both, not phenomenal picks there. Newbin can play both free and strong safety, but then again, the Giants have not had a very good history of third-round picks. We've had maybe a decent third-round pick here, so every now and then, but we don't seem to wind up re-signing. After they play out their 4 years, usually they're gone. So let's hope Andrew Phillips bucks that trend. We draft the guy in the 3rd round, we develop the guy, and we keep the guy. Let's see. Phillips to the Giants was one of my favorite prospect team fits of any selection in the draft. His press man coverage style fits perfectly with New York's 2023 first-round pick, Deonte Banks. They can get even more aggressive to play cover 1, cover 0, or 2-man. But the thing is, possibly it seems like Andrew Phillips is going to be in the nickel or the slot corner. Right. Despite losing McKinney to Green Bay, the Giants have to feel decent about where their secondary stands entering the 2024 season. The group earned 18 aerial takeaways last season, tied for 2nd most in the league. Newbin and Phillips joined an experienced room that enjoyed decent contributions from Banks and Jason Pinnock. New York also brought in former division rival Jalen Mills, who spent the past 3 tours with the New England Patriots. General Manager Joe Schoen recognized the versatility of his relatively revamped secondary in the immediate aftermath of Newbin and Phillips' arrivals and is looking forward to seeing how newly installed coordinator Shane Bowen handles their assets. The versatility piece, I think, comes up multiple times, whether it was if we would not have gotten a corner in the 3rd, Shane said. Dane Belton has versatility. Pinnock and Tyler Newbin, how can those guys play? Isaiah, and I obviously Isaiah Simmons as well too. The versatility and the chess pieces. I think Shane is going to do a good job moving those guys around. Joining the Giants on PFF's loaded secondaries were those of the Arizona Cardinals, the Baltimore Ravens, the Detroit Lions. So it's good. So yeah, I'm all for it. But once again, we have to obviously see how it all pans out. You draft the guys and you're all excited here, but we got to wait and see how they perform on the field. Hopefully, maybe Trey Hawkins maybe takes a step forward this season. I mean, he was it looked like he was the second coming of Jesus Christ in training camp last season. Like, my God, this guy's good. Damn, we got the steal of the century with this guy. Man, this guy's locking down everybody. And then you get to the regular season, it's like, this guy's not as good as we thought he was. So maybe he needs, he's going to be big, physical. He's a good athlete. So we'll have to wait and see. Maybe he can get a little bit better each year. We'll have to wait and see. But, just because, we saw what Trey Hawkins, the third, did in training camp last season, and maybe even like a little preseason or whatever, but it just didn't translate to the regular season. So, gotta hold off judgment until we actually see what these guys can do during the regular season. Let's see. Dinosaur. Giants.com. Brian Burns among NFL.com's top 10 impactful trades. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, yeah. I mean, this is going to give the Giants bookend. There's going to be some very, very expensive bookends. I mean, we got, figure out Brian Burns is $30 million a season. Got him for 5 years, though. Hopefully we got him for all 5 years. That'd be freaking fantastic. But, there's going to be, good old Kayvon. He's gonna want to get paid. Obviously, still have. Let's say this will be his third season, then his fourth season. Then we'll pick up his fifth-year option. So, so I mean, we still have a couple of seasons with Kayvon being on the low side, right? But we got two real nice bookends, right? Thankfully for edge rushers for first time in a while. We got Azeez Ojulari. We'll have to wait and see what Azeez, how he's been able to perform this season. Last season, he just wasn't. I don't know if the injuries are catching up to him, slowing him down a little bit. Exactly what, but he was not very dynamic last season. That is for sure. But maybe if he's on the bench and he comes in, gives Brian Burns a little breather, gives Kayvon a breather here or there, something like that. Maybe he comes in off the bench, gives a spark, right? Maybe we get some decent production out of him. The thing is that with Azeez, is that this is going to probably be his final season with the Giants. Now, I mean, whether the Giants maybe don't sign him and let him hit the open market, and the Giants bring him back. Who knows? But this might be the last season we have Azeez. So quite possibly after this season's over, the Giants might be looking for another edge rusher. Obviously, we're not looking for $30 million a year edge rusher. We're not going to go out and make another trade for another Brian Burns. But quite possibly in the draft next season, having somebody can rush the quarterback could be high up there. Now, whether it might be a defensive tackle or another edge rusher, it wouldn't surprise me at all if the next couple top two picks, maybe three, that one, top one of the top three picks next season is an edge rusher for the Giants, especially if we don't bring Azeez Ojulari back. But this Brian Burns is very, very impactful. New 2024 NFL schedule, which is set to be released Wednesday night. This is a couple of days ago, but Brian Burns, whom the Giants acquired this offseason in a trade with the Panthers, is one of them. The two-time Pro Bowl edge rusher was recently ranked number 4 on NFL.com's list of the top 10 traded players who will have biggest impact on the 2024 NFL season. The top 3 were all wide receivers. I mean, I'll tell you what, the Bears, my goodness, man, I'll tell you what. Caleb Williams can't find an open receiver. I'll tell you what, there's something wrong there. Between Adunzie, DJ Moore, and Keenan Allen, wow. Let me tell you what. It says, I thought about slotting Burns at the top of this list, and maybe I should have. NFL.com's Tom Blair wrote, of every one of my top 10, he seems like the safest lock to play like a star for his new team in 2024. Unlike Allen and Diggs, the 26-year-old is still squarely in his prime. And unlike, I'm going to go over the list here, but it says, and unlike Judy, he's a proven entity with a high floor. Burns has a double-digit pressure rate every year of his career per next-gen stats. And he should team with Kayvon Thibodeau to boost a defense that finished 30th in pressure rate last season. So down below, they got here the list of the top 10, okay? They listed the number 1 impactful trade was Stephon Diggs going to the Texans. And, I mean, that really, I mean, if the Texans were able to build on what they did last season, this, for Diggs going to there could really help elevate their offense. Absolutely. Then they got the next one is Keenan Allen going from the Chargers to the Bears. Absolutely. I mean, my goodness. I mean, they got a Dunzier, they got DJ Moore, they got Keenan Allen. I mean, they got some weapons. The number 3, Jerry Jeudy from the Broncos to the Browns. Now, the thing with that, I mean, we'll have to wait and see how Jeudy does. And then the fourth overall impactful trade was Brian Burns from the Panthers to the Giants. Then you got Jarius Sneed from the Chiefs to the Titans. Yeah, Sneed did very well, very, very well for the Chiefs. You got Hassan Reddick going to the Jets. I mean, my goodness. I mean, helping the Jets with that defense that they got. Whew, watch out. tell you what, if Aaron Rodgers can put up some points per game, I mean, that the Jets they'll be tough to contend with if they can stay healthy, obviously, and if they can keep Aaron Rodgers upright, shall I say that too. Carlton Davis, cornerback Carlton Davis from the Bucs to the Lions. I mean, just what the Lions needed some more help, huh? Malik Collins, the defensive tackle from the Texans to the 49ers. Deontay Johnson, a wide receiver from the Steelers to the Panthers, and quarterback Justin Fields from the Bears to the Steelers. Well, we'll have to wait and see there. I mean, maybe the Steelers can get something out of him. I mean, I don't know, with Justin Fields. I mean, guy was drafted so high. Oh, Vinny G-Man. Oh, what's up, brother? What's going on, Vinny G-Man? It's just weird as with Fields. I mean, they drafted him so high. I mean, basically traded him away for a bag of Doritos. It's like, so I mean, maybe Tomlin can get something more out of him than the Bears did. Who knows? But I'll have to wait and see. I mean, they said it's an impactful trade that they traded Justin Fields to the Steelers, but I don't even know if he's even going to be starting over there. So I don't know how impactful a trade is, but we'll have to wait and see. But I think without question, Brian Burns, I mean, what he's going to do for the Giants defense is huge because the Giants, they had Dexter Lawrence, right? And you had Kayvon Thibodeau, right? Now you got I said we had Azeez Ojulari last, but I don't know if it's that the injuries are just catching up with him or what it is, but he just did not seem like the same last season. Hopefully maybe this year he can get better. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But I said, now we got 2 edge rushers and we got Dexter Lawrence. I said, what I would really love to see, like maybe next season, either in free agency or in the draft, let's get somebody else on that front wall there, put next to Dexter Lawrence. Right? Because let's not forget, excuse me, I don't even like saying this. I mean, perish the thought. But, Dexy's in his prime right now. I mean, we got 2019, 20, 21, 22, 23. This is his 6th season already. Right? I mean, he's like right square in the middle of the sexiness. Right? I mean, we can't say in 5 or 6 years from now, and Dexter Lawrence, he's in his 12th season. Yeah, he's still the top defensive tackle in the league. No, that's not going to happen. I mean, he's going to start, somewhere. Hopefully not for years, a couple of years, but he's going to start going down. Wouldn't it be nice while he's in his prime to get a defensive tackle to put next to the sexy one, right? Especially draft somebody, right? Draft somebody, high up there, first rounder, second rounder, So while you're paying sexy 20-something million a year, you draft somebody next to, who may be only paying a couple million a year, right? But let's get somebody next to him, right, who we can take advantage, because then it's like, all right, well, are you gonna double team Dexter Lawrence? Okay, well then you got to deal with this other defensive tackle. You can't double team everybody, right? You can't double team this tackle we just drafted, and you can't double team Sexy Dexy, and you can't, who are you gonna have blocking Kayvon and Brian Burns, right? You got to pick your poison. So let's get somebody in there, right? Who we draft somebody, right? And get him in there while Dexter's in his prime. Because I'm saying if we wait till next season to draft a defensive lineman, a stud, next to Dexter, next year Dexter's going to be in his 7th season. And it's not like because he's on the front wall. I mean, every time they snap the ball, he's in contact with somebody. Every time, what I mean. So let's hope he's with the Giants for a long time. But right now he's in the prime. Right, if we can get somebody next to him, that'd be absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. All right. Oh, then I got here. I'll tell you what, the whispers. Daniel Jones whispers are getting louder and louder. Who is this? This is from NJ.com. Faith in the Giants quarterback Daniel Jones regressed in 2024 after he led the Giants to a playoff win and signed a 4-year, $160 million contract. Jones played in just 6 games last season. He had his neck injury and a torn ACL, thrown for just 2 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. The Giants are not feeling optimistic about their quarterback situation, and Jones' starting job isn't safe 2 years removed from a massive extension, according to SNY's NFL insider Connor Hughes. Big Blue will head into camp with Drew Lock behind Jones, Hughes wrote. The whispers are getting louder that the quarterback depth chart is written in pencil. Ooh, where they can turn it around with the eraser. Right? Dable will play the player he believes gives the Giants the best chance. Absolutely. Understandably, considering what might happen if things go poorly. The Giants attempted to trade up in the 2024 NFL Draft to select Drake May to replace Jones, according to insiders Albert Breer and Jordan Renan. When that failed, they stayed put at number 6 and drafted Malik Nabers. New York also signed former quarterback Drew Lock, who started 2 games for the Seahawks last season, including a primetime win over the Eagles. The Giants could also choose to bench Jones, as according to ESPN's Dan Graziano. If Jones were to get hurt again, he would be guaranteed $23 million from the Giants as part of his $30 million expected salary next season. So if he gets injured again, he's got guaranteed $23 million next season. He writes, this has led to speculation that if Jones isn't playing well and the Giants decide they're going to look elsewhere, quarterback in 2025, they could bench Jones during the season to avoid a situation in which they get stuck with the $23 million tab, Graziano wrote. Former Broncos and Seahawks quarterback Drew Lock is the current backup and has played enough NFL games that he's a plausible option if they decide to go that way. Jones is almost certainly playing for his long-term future this season, and there's real reason to wonder how much leeway the team will give him. So, I mean, that's something, something you got to keep in the back of your mind, right? Like if he ain't doing well, right, the Giants are struggling, something to certainly think about. Right, because if they're thinking about getting rid of him after this season, because they can't get rid of him this season, can't happen, not going to happen. He's on the team, but if they get inklings of maybe we want to get rid of him next season, right, or before obviously after this season, get rid of him, right? Do they want to risk having him out there all season long and get injured, and then they got $23 million that they have to give him because of the injury? Because he's guaranteed $23 million if he gets injured again. So that's going to be definitely something to think about for Shane and Dable and all that. Hopefully everything goes well, and hopefully he doesn't get injured or not like that. But that's something to always keep in mind. Because once again, the way his contract's written, they can get out. I mean, there'll be some dead cap money next season if they let him go. But basically, the way the contract's written out, they can pretty much get out of the Daniel Jones contract after 2 seasons. So that's the way Shane, that's the way he wrote it. So that might tell you all you need to know about what they feel about Daniel Jones, right? Let's see here. Then also there's another one here. Giants reportedly wanted this Daniel Jones replacement for the 2023 season, but it never would have came to it. In a mailbag published on Tuesday, Connor Hughes of SNY revealed that New York Giants general manager Joe Schoen and head coach Brian Dable had a replacement in mind for Daniel Jones long before the ongoing offseason. Specifically, Hughes said that Schoen and Dable wanted C.J. Stroud of the Houston Texans when they joined the Giants in January 2022. That's why they didn't pick up his 5th-year option, Hughes said about how the Giants viewed Jones roughly 2 years ago. Right? They didn't pick up his 5th-year option. Of course, Jones guided the Giants in 2022 to a 9-7-1 regular season record and a road playoff win over the Vikings before he signed a new 4-year contract for the club. Meanwhile, Houston made Stroud the second overall pick of last year's draft. He notched his first career playoff victory this past January and officially won the Associated Press Offensive Rookie of the Year award the following month. The Giants were not in a position to draft anyone of note organically and couldn't trade up because they needed their draft assets to continue rounding out the roster, Hughes. I mean, where the Giants were drafting at last season to go from where they were 26th, I think it was, to go from 26 to number 2 would have been just straight up, just stone cold crazy. I mean, I don't even know if the Texans even would have done it. I mean, I don't know how many first rounders the Giants would have thrown at the Texans. Maybe the next 10 first round. I mean, it would have been astronomical, right? I mean, they would have had their quarterback. If somehow the Giants could have somehow gone from 26 all the way up to number 2 and got Stroud, they would have had their quarterback, but they wouldn't have a team. Right? Hughes added about how the Giants handled their quarterback situation last offseason. That essentially is what Jones will have to do again this season. He needs to play so well that the Giants can't acquire his replacement. Meaning, like in the draft, I guess if Jones winds up playing so well this season, right? The Giants, whatever. Just say the Giants go 10-7. Well, now the Giants are drafting number 24 or whatever, right? So the Giants can't trade up into the top 5 and get a top-notch quarterback. They'd have to wait for a quarterback to fall to them or something like that. So, there's a lot going on this season. That is for sure. Interestingly, Hughes also said that Jones' hardline, give me every penny stance during contract talks rubbed many within the Giants the wrong way before the signal caller signed his deal ahead of last year's draft. The situation was then made worse by Jones' on-the-field struggles the past season and his worrisome injury history. Shane and company seem prepared to escape Jones' contract next offseason unless the 26-year-old enjoys a career year that includes at least another playoff appearance. Then again, Shane could push for Dable to play lock this fall so that Jones' salary for 2025 does not become a guaranteed because of an injury. So once again, it's been very, very interesting to see how the season winds up playing out. I mean, obviously I'm going into the season. I don't, whoever the quarterback is, right? I hope he gets injured so we don't have to pay this. We're going in. We got 17 games. Whoever I want to win. I want to win every freaking game. I'm not looking at, well, don't play him in this game because they got a good defensive. He might get injured in that game. So let's hope everything goes fine. But we'll have to wait and see. But there's a lot going on this season now. Whether the Giants want to bench him somewhere along the line this season, so maybe he doesn't get injured, so they're on the hook for $23 million for 2025, or whether they after the season's up they're going to just get rid of him and bite the bullet, and then maybe they can have Drew Lock, as a torch holder until the Giants draft somebody or bring somebody else in. We'll have to wait and see. I'm not sure who the free. I don't know. I'm not up to snuff on it. I'm not sure who might be free agent quarterbacks next season as far as the Giants might be able to bring somebody else in. But, they are set up, though. I mean, they could certainly get rid of Daniel Jones. They would even if they get rid of him, if he doesn't get injured, they would be on hook for about $20 million, somewhere $22 million in dead cap money. But they would save themselves close to about $20 million as well, too. So we're gonna have to wait and see. And then finally, of course, it's hard. It's hard to escape this one. But Giants have, according to PFF, the Giants have the weakest offensive line in the NFL, and it's not because they haven't been, using some high draft capital. I mean, they dished out some draft capital on some offensive linemen. But this offseason, New York Giants manager Joe Schoen continued his quest to fix the offensive line. In his first two drafts, he used first, second, and third day picks on college hopefuls that could upgrade the team's weakest unit. This time around, Schoen ignored the line in the draft, but used a significant amount of his available cap space on veterans who he hoped could fill the gaps. Regardless, the folks at Pro Football Focus still aren't buying into Shane's plan, as they are rating the Giants' offensive line as the weakest in the league heading into this season. PFF says the weakest line is the New York Giants. Even after earning the worst offensive line grade of any team in 2023, the Giants did very little to improve their unit this offseason. Really? They brought in like 915 free agents on the offensive line. I'm not sure what crack pipe you're smoking from, but so PFF said they did very little to improve. Okay, bringing in like 5 free agents on the offensive. I guess that's very little. Maybe if they brought in like 37 free agents on the offensive line, maybe that would have been a decent amount for PFF. I don't know, but according to PFF, the Giants did very little to improve their unit this offseason. The group recorded a 44.6 PFF grade last year and will hope a fully healthy Andrew Thomas and the additions of guard John Runyon and tackle Jermaine Elusive can provide a boost. Keep in mind the Giants also have a new unit coach in former Las Vegas Raider offensive line coach Carmen Basillo, who the team believes will be an upgrade over the outgoing Bobby Johnson. I would be an upgrade over Bobby Johnson. A dead turtle who got run over by a Mack truck in the middle of the road would be an upgrade over Bobby Johnson. I just can't even talk sometimes. It's just how ungodly, unbelievable, pathetic the Giants' offensive line was last season. It's just unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. Keep in mind the Giants also have. I read that here. Last season, the Giants had to revert to a patchwork line chock full of washed up and washed out players due to injuries. The 3 players that Shane is building the line around, tackles Thomas, Evan Neal, and John Michael Schmitz, were all injured for significant stretches last season. Yeah. They all are expected to be back healthy and ready to assume their starting roles. Shane brought in Runyon, and Illuminor will provide the much-needed stability at guard. Yeah. So, well, we will have to wait and see. But I said, if you look last season, I mean, you go here, PFF, right? Pass blocking grade, right? The Eagles, this is 2023. Okay, 2023. So the Eagles were, let's see, I guess regular postseason. Just regular season? Just regular season. Okay, here we go. Regular season. Okay. Pass blocking. The Eagles were number 1, 76.9. Their pass blocking grade, 76.9. The Giants were last, 43.4. The Steelers were 47.3. So the Giants were 4 points lower than the Steelers. The Steelers are 31st. Giants are 43.4. Their pass blocking grade by PFF. I mean, just simply atrocious. And the run blocking. The 49ers are number 1, 82.8. And let's see, the Giants were number 30, 41.1. So the Giants were a 41.1 and a 43.4. So combined, basically like a 42. I mean, just absolute trash. Absolute garbage. A 41. I mean, and you wonder why some of these teams go to playoffs and some of them don't. It's just, But then you look here too, right? Is that the Giants last season? Okay, the what do we got here? Pass blocking, the overall, the offensive grade, and there's a long list of guys who played offense, obviously, for the Giants last season. I mean, there's Brightwell, Jones, DeVito, Thomas, Hyatt, Cager, Gray, Hodgins, Jackson, Olszewski, Tyreek Phillips, Breida, Campbell, Shepard, Bellinger, Jackson, there's a ton of, there's 34 different guys that played offense for the Giants last season, whether it was a couple snaps, 1 snap, a whole season, whatever it was. So they had like 34 different guys played offense for the Giants last season, okay? Now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 34 guys that played, once again, that played offense for the Giants last season. Okay. According to PFF, the worst 10 scores, all offensive linemen, the worst 10. So you got the 34, right? So then the top 25, I mean, there's Andrew Thomas is in there, obviously in the top 24, but the bottom 24 from 25 to 34, those 10 guys, all offensive linemen who scored the worst, according to PFF. I mean, we start off here. Let's see here. Adoree Jackson, who played 2 snaps. He was number 24. He played 2 snaps. He graded out at 46.8. Is it 2 snaps? I'm sorry. No. I'm sorry. 18 snaps. 18 snaps. I'm sorry. 18 snaps. Okay, he graded out at 46.8. So after him, Marcus McKeithen was 45.4. Sean Harlow, 45.3. Matt Parrott, 42.9. Joshua Zudu, 42.4. Ben Bredesen, 42.1. Justin Pugh, 41.6. John Michael Schmitz, 41.4. Evan Neal, 39.8. Shane Lemieux, 34.3. And Jalen Mayfield, who played 47 snaps for the Giants, pretty much like a guard, 26.1 he graded out at. The bottom 10 guys on the Giants offense, according to PFF, that's all I'm going by here. The worst 10 scores were all offensive linemen. I mean, it said, well, you know, I mean, you look at these guys here. I mean, let's see here. McKeithen, it was in for 378 snaps. Matt Parrott was 133. Joshua Zudu, 266. Ben Bredesen was in there for 1,014 snaps. He graded out of 42.1. Justin Pugh, 763 snaps, 41.6. John Michael Schmidt, 755 snaps, 41.4. Evan Neal, 460 snaps, 39.8. We got, like, you know, there's quite a few guys here with a significant amount of snaps, graded in like the 40s and the 30s. I mean, just absolute garbage. I mean, my God. I mean, you know, I said this before. I said there was how many times, like last year, like the, there'd be a pass, whoever the quarterback was for the Giants would have the ball, drop back, and it'd be like they'd run a stunt or a twist or something like that, and it just like run right by one of our guys, offensive lineman, and I go, was that my guy? Was that you? Was that a stunt? Was that what's going on? What was that? You know what I mean? The guy stunts pass, twists pass, sacks the quarterback, and then I'm like looking around. Was I supposed to get that? Who was that? I mean, can we pick up a twist? Can we pick up a stunt? Anything? And I said this a couple times. I think it was like 2 times last season. I seen like the Facebook groups. There was a picture. I think it was Marcus McKeithen. I think it might have been both times. Whatever the play was, right? It might have been a run play or a pass play, whatever it was. But I think it was 2 times I seen pictures of Mark McKeithen. He was facing the Giants' backfield, and he was going like this, facing the backfield, like the defense is behind him, all the play, everything is behind him, and McKeithen is facing like the quarterback. Like, what are you doing, dude? It's like there was 2 times. He's like, who are you blocking? Are you blocking Daniel Jones? Well, I mean, my God. I mean, it's like a comedy show. Absolute trash. I certainly don't want to say we're going to be a top 10 unit or so. I don't want to get that great, but I mean, there's no way we can possibly get worse. Absolutely no way. I mean, true, last season, a lot of injuries, had quite a bit to do with it, but good coaching, once again, wouldn't have taken that unit that we had last season and made them a top 5 unit. Wasn't going to happen, but good coaching, okay, can do quite a bit. So thankfully, Bobby Johnson's gone. Okay, and let's see what Carmen Basillo can do, because Carmen Basillo, with what they did. Well, let's see here. Let's see what the Raiders did last season here. Okay, now once again, he did not have a lot to work with. Okay, he did not have 5 Hall of Fame offensive linemen he's working with. But let's see, according to PFF, that's all I'm going by. Last season, pass blocking grade, where were the Raiders at here? Raiders were 12th. I think, I could be wrong here. I think they're 5 guys. I think it was a first rounder, a third rounder, I think a 5th, and I think 2 undrafted free agents, I think. Or maybe he was a 7th rounder and an undrafted free agent or something like that, but he did not have a lot to work with. The Raiders were pass blocking, were number 12 overall. 68.5. And I said the 68, almost a 70. And the Giants, what were the Giants? What did I say? 40 what? 43.4. So the Raiders, however you want to look at it, the Raiders are 25 points, according to PFF, right? 25 points better. The Raiders were 68. Giants were 43. Giants had a first rounder, and a second rounder on the offensive line. And when Azudu was in there, they had a first rounder with Neal, first rounder with Andrew Thomas, a third rounder with Joshua Azudu, a second rounder with John Michael Schmitz, graded out of 43. The Raiders, 68. Let's see, run blocking here. Run blocking. The Raiders, 14. Giants were 30th overall. Raiders were 14th. The Raiders were 62.9. So they were 12th and they were 14th. So whatever you want to combine the two, they're roughly about the 13th, according to PFF, once again. According to them, about the 13th best offensive line. 13th with a lot less to work with than what the Giants are going to present Carmen Basillo. So, yeah, I mean, would it be too much, for the Giants to go from number 32 to 20? Would that be asking too much with some good coaching? I don't think so. I mean, all the free agents we brought in, I mean, we got a lot of offensive linemen. We got a lot of guys. We got a lot of high, heavy draft capital on, and hopefully everybody's coming back. We should be hopefully healthy and ready to go, especially by training camp. You're not sure with Evan Neal because he had some off-season surgery. So maybe by training camp, he'll be ready to maybe start rocking and rolling. Look at the offensive lines out there. How many offensive lines? 2 first rounders, a second rounder, and a third rounder. I mean, I don't even know if the Zudu's going to start. I don't even know, but you're almost guaranteed that Evan Neal, whether it's a tackle or guard, he'll be there as a first rounder. Andrew Thomas and John Michael Schmitz. We have 2 first rounders and a second rounder, almost guaranteed to be starting on the offensive line. Not every offensive line out there is that can say that. There's a lot of really good offensive linemen out there that don't have that much draft capital involvement. So a lot of it's got to do with coaching. So let's hope Carmen Basillo can do some magic here. As I said, I mean, I don't think it'd be too much to ask the Giants to go for maybe if we can stay healthy. Health is huge because, it's like every other game when you got the John Michael Schmitz is, he's got Justin Pugh here, and then he's got McKeithen over here, and then the next game he's got Azudu over here, and he's got Shane Lemieux over there, and then the next game he's got this guy. He can't get that. His continuity that's huge. Guys playing together, knowing their strengths and weaknesses. That's huge. So I mean, obviously that's something you can't predict. But if we cross our fingers and we can stay somewhat healthy, I think Carmen Basillo can really do some nice things with this offensive line. All right, guys, been 1 hour and 8 minutes. Benny G-Man and Daniel Barry Sports Highlights. Good talking to you guys. Good talking to you. Benny G-Man, as always, brother, thank you. It's great talking to you. So whoever spent any time listening to me live, thank you. Or if anybody's going to spend any time watching the replays, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It means the world to me. It really does. Thank you. As always, you guys stay safe out there and go Giants. Woo! Oh, yeah.